For now, let's switch gears to a serious problem many people are facing: nerve damage. The National Institute of Health says 30 to 40% of cancer patients and 50% of diabetics will experience it. Well, here to talk about it is author of The Modern Guide to Peripheral Neuropathy, Dr. Bao Tai. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's great to have you. So like I said, we're tackling this very serious subject of nerve damage, and you say there are 3 mistakes to avoid if you don't want to have that in your life. So what's the first one?
Absolutely. Well, the first mistake to avoid is if you have nerve damage and you're taking anti-seizure and antidepressant medications. Now, these are Lyrica, Neurontin, gabapentin, and Cymbalta. The problem is they're often prescribed by your doctors to just mask the symptoms. Now, we all know that when you take a medication, there's always a side effect. So if you're not fixing the problem and you have a side effect, it's just bad news.
Right.
So the second mistake to avoid is not exercising. Now, I know it's painful, I know it's tough, but this is how your nerves and your muscles work together. They work in harmony. So when you strengthen your muscles, you're also strengthening that nerve. But if that muscle atrophies, that nerve is just going to deteriorate quicker and quicker. And the third mistake is poor nutrition. You can't eat McDonald's and Taco Bell and Burger King.
That's me.
Well, you know.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, I tell my patients, look, if you want to get better, you got to say bye-bye to that Big Mac. You have to, otherwise you'll never get well.
Right, you have to have balance, definitely. You know, nerve damage is not something that you play around with.
Yes.
And you brought a prop with you that really does a good job of illustrating it, right?
Yeah, so I'm always asking my patients, what does nerve damage actually look like? So I have this power cord here. You see how the insulation is stripped and now those wires are exposed? This is what happens in your body. So the insulation is called the myelin sheath. And once it's exposed, now it just starts to break down more and more to where you have numbness and tingling and pain and burning and all these different symptoms.
Right, and this is happening inside your body, people. I mean, this is just a fun little illustration, but really there's a lot of science behind it. But you're saying that there's a way that we can start to overcome it, and that's with something called the NERVE formula.
Absolutely. I have this fun acronym called NERVE. N is for nutrition. Now, you have to be on an anti-inflammatory diet, but more importantly, there's all these great foods that contain vitamin C, K, magnesium, and zinc, and all these different things that if you give it to your body, it just gets better and better. E, exercise. You gotta exercise, but here's the key. You have to have resistance. You gotta make that muscle work just that bit harder for that nerve to get stronger. R, you replace. You have to replace all those depleted vitamins and minerals like B12 and alpha lipoic acid and acetyl-carnitine. You give your body those things and it just grows, grows, grows. V, velocity. You got to get more blood flow to that area. A plant is just like a nerve. You got to give it water for it to grow. So a nerve, you got to give it more blood. So massage therapy, decompression therapies, these are all fantastic getting more blood flow. And E, the most important thing is effort. You got to put the effort in or nothing will ever change. So I have my patients, you got to focus on what you want to do. You got to focus on what getting better and just really put the effort in and the results speak for themselves.
Right, well that's a very important reminder. All of this really is about your nutrition, about the effort that you're putting into it, and you do it in such a, energetic way that it really gets people thinking, what am I doing to improve my body and any problems that I have like nerve damage. So doctor, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us this cool little demo and talking about this.
Thank you for having me on. It's a blast.
Of course,
I love it.
Anytime. Now guys, The Modern Guide to Peripheral Neuropathy is available now. To learn more on that book or any of the topics we discussed today, visit nerveandlaser.com.